Welcome to Football Soccer, the podcast with me, Sam, Tony, Chris, and we've got Dolly with us here today. Dolly the dog, if you're listening.
Dolly the dog.
Welcome back. We're in person again.
I know, it's lovely, isn't it? It's good to see you, mate. Merry New Year.
Merry New Year.
Yeah.
How are you, Tone?
I'm good, mate. I'm actually sad I'm not in person, but still Merry New Year to you.
We're
Yeah,
gonna have to get you out here for a guest appearance, mate. I think. In-person guest appearance.
Yeah. Well, listen, on the day we win the league, I'll make sure I'm right there with you.
Come on. I don't know if I'll be alive in 2078.
Get lost. Get lost. It's happening. It's happening.
Well, it's been a good Christmas. I suppose a good time to reflect on the Christmas period, actually.
Yeah.
And really, I think Liverpool's come out of it all right. Didn't lose.
No.
I know that
We've come out of it exactly the same way we went into it. I think 6 points ahead with the game in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Arsenal
only thing
tripped up.
that's changed is the team, because we were 6 points ahead. I think, was it Forest?
Chelsea,
Chelsea, I think.
Chelsea.
Oh, the Chelsea. Okay,
Yeah. I think,
I'll take that, mate. I'll take that all day long.
I think as long as we can match Arsenal, I think for the rest of the season, if we match Arsenal, we win the league. That's kind of how I see
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, with Forest sitting joint, form team of
By the way.
the Christmas is Forest. Well, form team of the year is Forest
agreed.
and Newcastle. Eddie Howe at one point looked like he was in trouble. I think they were 13, 12 down there before Christmas, and now they're up into like fifth. They've amassed 6 wins on a spin.
Yeah.
Same as Forest. So you've got to say, are Forest contenders?
No.
They're on the same points as Arsenal.
Contenders for what? Top 4?
Well, yeah, look, I don't think they're going to be obviously title challengers. But if Arsenal are title challengers, so are they at this second.
No.
I mean, they've had plenty of chance to fall off, and they're still playing great. They beat us. They're the only person.
They're
that
a
beat us
good
this-
side.
Yeah,
And they got
We've
you, I
them
think,
next
this week. I think you've got them. That's your next Premiership game, isn't
after
it?
the cup games. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That'll be a good barometer, honestly, for both. I would say.
yeah.
You know, for them and us. I think
They've
we've
got a
bit of
great
wake-up call.
manager, and they got a handful of really good players, but they're not contenders for the league.
Well, I agree with
let's
you.
not be
I do
crazy.
agree. I think we all
I hope
agree.
that's right. Yeah.
I think we all agree, but you never see some of these shock teams. Like at one point, there was a load of people sitting there with Leicester once upon a time saying,
Yeah, true. Good
could it
point.
happen again? I don't. You can't
Bit
see
different
that.
though, isn't it? They were top of the league. It was like, can they hang on? And they hung
Yeah.
on. It's like, can they really hang on? And they really hung on. And it was. I reckon that's the best ever achievement in sports. That full stop, end of story. Any sport ever.
Because it's
I'm
so
gonna
You
hard.
mean
to
Leicester?
Leicester
Yeah.
winning the league, I think, is
It's
the
a
most
shout.
incredible
It's a
sport
shout,
achievement.
Yeah.
I think that's a good debate, by the way.
I don't think it's even a debate. To be honest.
Well, I'm with you.
I really, because it's to win a league, 38 games, 40 games. You got like 38 games. That is incredible.
Agreed.
That you can, for them, when you look at that. But they did have some good team. Could have a bit of a recruitment. Stark contrast to the Leicester now, who are getting pumped week in, week out, aren't they? Only team they've beaten is West Ham.
Like everybody else.
Yeah.
Go on then, Sam. What's going to happen with West Ham? Oh, that's a good segue for you.
I think it's a good
Go
way
on.
to start.
Let's go. Let's go to the graveyard. Let's go to the cemetery.
Well, talking of graveyard, so we're news breaking, obviously, yesterday, today, it broke that West Ham had sacked their manager yesterday, Julian Lopetegui. Then they had to
By
retract
the way,
it.
Sam, I just call him Julian Lopetegui. I love that West Ham fans call him J-Lo.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's superb.
Shame he's not as entertaining. Yeah. So, J-Lo obviously got the news yesterday. So it was reported that he'd got the boot. Graham Potter was going to be the manager. Then, over the last 24 hours, what has come out, I think, is in typical West Ham fashion, farcical. And I actually think it's disrespectful to Julian Lopetegui now. I think it's really, really bad. I think it's a real bad handling of a situation. So for those who don't know, Julian Lopetegui probably should have been given the boot months ago. They keep saying he needs time. They're going to give him the time. It's emerged that they have interviewed Graham Potter in this time. And I've actually got. I don't know if I did.
How
I
do you
tell
get photographed doing that? Like doing
in a
it.
when you
hotel
say
lobby.
I'm
But how are you taking that meeting somewhere where someone can get a snap?
Not
of
in the
that?
room. Like do it in a room. It's pretty easy.
Honest to God,
Don't
that's
do it
just
in a hotel.
joke, isn't it?
Don't do it in the foyer of what looked like the Travelodge.
Honest to
Did I
God.
tell you? Did I break on here the Potter story?
You go on.
Did I tell you about? I can't think if I said it on the podcast or
I
not.
don't know if you did. I think you said it
So
in stealth mode.
So this is, I've had this on very, very, like, this is very good.
Yes.
What would you call that? What do you call it?
Good authority.
Good authority. Good authority that this is quite true. Graham Potter took the job at West Ham and he took a 6-month contract before the Wolves game.
All right.
He was waiting in a hotel with his assistant that he was then going to go and take training next morning and be announced as West Ham thing. He was waiting for the car to pick him up.
Yeah.
No car came. He called to say, where's the car? And they said, oh, well, there's a bit of a discrepancy between the board members. They're not all on board. One's not on board. And we're going to give him the Wolves game. So he was like, okay. So he was waiting in a hotel, ready to go to training to be the West Ham manager.
Wow.
He then, now, this is, I'm going to say allegedly with this. I'm not sued.
covered. Yeah.
But so then he's been sitting waiting ever since because they basically said, well, we're keeping him in the job at the minute, but as soon as he loses, you're in. Now, the fact that Graham Potter is even considering taking this club after seeing the treatment of the other man, he must be off his head and must be desperate for a job, but which is mad because it doesn't seem that he is desperate for a job because I think he's interviewed at a few jobs and turned. I think he's turned down Ajax. They're saying that AC Milan came in for him, and he's been really.
There is talk of he was getting paid by Chelsea up until January 1st, though.
Yeah. Oh, listen.
When
Without
I
that, that's
say
why
talk,
you're
I
seeing
don't
Graham
say
Potter
that
on
with any
the
authority.
Monday Night Footballs now that he's back in the window.
Yeah.
It's weird. Why on earth he'd consider? I then heard he's being told it's a 6-month contract, so he's got to go in and prove. Typical West Ham way. Prove yourself and get yourself a better contract. So it's another something that reeks of save pennies and is going to cost you millions. Because if he does a really good job, has a great affinity with the fans, gets West Ham up the league, he has now got them over a barrel to say, I want double the money, or I want a 5-year deal, I want this, or I'll walk, and I'll go and get another club. And the West Ham fans will be on your back. So,
but another way to look at that, though, Tram, is that if he does do amazing, and then he asks for double or whatever, he's worth it. So for West Ham, it's sort of a
it's going to cost you more money than it would now, wouldn't it?
I mean, what? Like for a club like West Ham, it might cost them an extra few million.
Well, it's emerged today as well that we've spoken to. I think we've had a look at Marco Silva. But will not pay the 8 million release clause. Why would he leave Fulham to go to
West Ham now?
But
why would he leave Fulham to go to West Ham, Marco Silva?
I agree. Like, really, you've only got to go because if it's money or something, and West Ham are obviously not going to pay this. But I just think the fact that Julian Lopetegui, so this has all come out about Potter. It's on Sky Sports everywhere. They're outside the training ground. Basically, he knows he's been sacked. And yet he's taking training today. And it's emerged that Potter now is also the favourite at Everton.
Oh, wow.
So Potter apparently has met with Everton and West Ham, and he's weighing up who to take. Now,
I'd take Everton if I was
him. How come?
I wouldn't.
Because they're a bigger club, and the fan base, I think, get behind somebody who's really, really providing something. Whereas I don't think West Ham's fan base do that. I think West Ham had a manager in David Moyes who was doing the best he could possibly do.
But not for the last season. We conceded the most goals in England.
Yeah, but I mean, one season, no, mate, is not.
No, and it was the season before in the league. You've got to look. That's what
the
was
season before you won that fake European Cup. No,
real European Cup.
Do you want to know something terrifying, Toe, as well, just on a slight tangent? You know that the Abu Dhabi guys, before they bought City, they were looking at Everton. Do you know that?
I mean, listen, Everton's right for the
I
And
know.
Spurs.
You know?
Yeah. But can you imagine if they'd have bought Everton? Fucking hell, that would have been disastrous.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, you're right there. But in terms of Potter going to West Ham or Everton, listen, I'll be honest with you. I like West Ham, but obviously I don't like Everton.
No, I've got to be honest with you. If you're
Living
a
in
manager
London, though, as well.
living in London, right, all that, and I think Everton. If you look at West Ham over the last 10 years, West Ham's a better club than Everton. I think we're very similar clubs. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Everton, West Ham,
they're in the same bracket for sure.
No, well, look, we've done a lot better than Everton over the last 10 years. Everton should have been relegated multiple times.
Yeah, they
over
should
this
have
last
been.
10 years.
Yeah.
Great stadium.
They're
Great
going to be
fans,
moving
great
into a new stadium, Everton. So there's that.
but yours as well, I mean, like,
Yeah, look,
I'm living in
I
London's
think
a
you're
big
very
one.
similar clubs, and way this is all emerging for both clubs, I think it's got to come down to how badly we're both run as well. I think it's really disrespectful to the people in charge. How on earth can the teams today, with Sean Dyche and Lopetegui, go in there and take instruction off that manager? They can't. They know he's gone.
Completely.
But
They
Sam,
both
in
know
mind.
they're both gone.
Yeah.
Like they should both sack them today and put interims in, just to say, right, we've got games at the weekend. It's come out in the last 10 minutes of recording this that they've said
put an
who's going to be
interim
the
in?
manager, and a club source has said we're not too sure at this moment who'll be a manager. But apparently the hold up is Graham Potter's now asked, because he's got two clubs, for a longer deal.
I bet he has.
And he's got two clubs, so really, if I was him, I'd be playing it off as well. They've both shown their hands that they both want him, and there's no one else.
Like West Ham, obviously trying to do what's best for them with the 6-month contract, which I get from the director.
But there is no one. Name another football team that would bring in, not an interim. This is not someone who's at the club who's stepping in, the caretaker manager. Who on earth offers a 6 months contract for
I agree.
a manager?
And Toe's right. I mean, if he
and
does what
why?
he thinks he can do,
Why
which is
6
probably
months?
fine.
Exactly, because you're going, well, maybe he won't do too good and we can get rid of him. You're
And
thinking,
it won't
It's
cost us
negative,
too much
isn't it?
money
It's
to get rid of
negative.
them.
Negative. Yeah, it's a negative thought. So you hit the nail on the head. It's like if he does do what he probably will, and because I think Graham Potter's a great manager, and that seems like
also,
a
he
good
couldn't
fit
do much
for me.
worse than this manager's done at West Ham.
Agreed. And so he's going to probably, I would say, not punch above his step, but do well. And I think in 6 months he'll have
do
leverage.
better than I think any West Ham manager's done in a long time. He'll probably also do the same at Everton. Probably better than any manager's done in a long time.
I agree with that.
Ironically,
and I think,
But listen,
ironically,
Everton have just
since
taken points
David
off
Moyes
United,
for both
Arsenal,
clubs.
and City.
but they
Everton-
can't
that?
score a goal, can they?
I mean, Everton have just they've been our best ally over the holidays. Everton just took points off
Yeah, they did.
Chelsea. Was it Chelsea, Arsenal, City? They took them off. Anyway,
I can't
they
think
No,
Chelsea. I know it was
they
definitely
drew
Arsenal.
at Chelsea. They drew at
drew
Arsenal,
Chelsea. They
didn't
drew Arsenal. I
Yeah.
mean, they were
Yeah.
like. I mean, so I hope they keep him.
Yeah.
So
No, I listen. Objectively, and I say this honestly, it is objectively. I think if I was Graham Potter and he had the choice of the two, it'd be Everton, because Everton are about to step into a new stadium, which is sort of not that important, but it
I
it
think
always
it's important.
spares a new era and all that kind of stuff. They've just been taken over by somebody who owns half of the Chevrolet.
Well, that
dealerships
is
in
that is
America.
interesting if their owners are actually going to put money in and things
Look,
like that.
I think the stadiums, it's a big thing. It's all about branding, It's all about, like, you look at how the stadium with Old Trafford with Man United, how that, Gary Neville coated them at the weekend, over and has been over the last months over the stadium, and how that, it affects the perception. It affects, again, as a player, when you walk into a brand new shiny city and go, how good's this? Fucking hell, I want to perform for these guys. Instead of it leaking, you go, God, it's all we're playing in. I think it's really important, all of that. And I think it goes a long way to increasing the value, the perception, everything around
And listen,
it.
Everton could be a good club. They're just badly run. They've had the wrong owners.
Yeah.
And you look at their signings, like you've got a 39-year-old at right back in Ashley Young. or left
Yeah,
back.
but you could say exactly the same about West Ham. What I'm saying is, I think those two clubs are in the same bracket, right? I don't
I've always
necessarily,
agreed. I agree with that.
I don't necessarily think Everton are a massively bigger club than West Ham. I think they are a bigger club, but I don't. I think they're in the same bracket. But if a manager goes into West Ham, he knows what he's getting because it's going to be the same as what the previous. I don't know, Sam. How many managers have you had under Sullivan? 4 or 5. I would.
Yeah.
I would guess. Um,
Who
with
we had? We've had
Everton,
Avram Grant. We've had
with
Moyes
Everton,
twice. We've had Bilic,
there's a new
Pellegrini,
era with them.
Lopetegui. Six managers. Yeah.
6 managers, and they've all suffered the same fate as soon as things got difficult. Apart from Moyes, only because he won.
No, but the way they treated
the-
Moyes at the end also, like Allardyce was the same. It was so bad. They basically, I honestly do believe West Ham think that if they treat them so bad that they'll just walk out. You know, like, and I actually
and
think
not
in
wanna
their
be
head
paid
that
for
might
it,
actually
yeah.
go through their
Well,
head.
by the way, if they walk out, they don't have to pay him. Like you
Yeah,
talked
but they're
about,
not going to.
Yeah, well, and
Well,
that's
my
why
point.
nobody
Yeah,
walks
exactly.
out.
Like you're never walking out. Like Potter,
Yeah,
you
you're
sack
not
him, he's going
walking
to
out.
get
You'd
paid
be
for his,
stupid
throughout his
to do that.
contract.
Yeah. No managers walking out these days.
Do you think
No.
with that Graham Potter's become the front runner here? But is that both clubs not showing that much ambition? Just going for the man who's just sitting around waiting for him. No one's come for him.
know that he's been-
he hasn't managed since April 2023. It's only 2 years.
Do you think he's just sat around, or do you think he's waiting for the best thing?
No, I think he's been paid.
Yeah, exactly.
But listen, he's the worst of the Brighton managers they've had over the last few years. When you look at
When you say
Deserbi,
worst, like
out of the three,
in what way?
Herzler, Deserbi, and his. I think his win percentage at Brighton was 31%. It's not. He's not.
Yeah, but
Incredible.
Don't
Isn't he
forget.
changed
Don't
And
things
then
forget.
was
Brighton, though?
absolutely.
He
He
managed
changed their style
Brighton.
of play from Chris Hughton,
Right.
and then he went.
He
to Chelsea.
managed Brighton though, Sam, when Brighton were in a very, very different situation than what they're in today.
Yeah, they still had players. Brighton.
No,
that
he
went on
did.
to
Of
play
course he
for
did.
other teams.
But Brighton today, somebody looks at them as a threat. When Potter was managing Brighton, they were still kind of Brighton.
No,
used to be in
I
League
do
Two.
agree. Look, I do agree with this. But what I'm saying is, he hasn't done anything earth-shattering for two clubs to be saying, "Look, this is our guy." Whereas, is there not someone out there? Like, I'd rather West Ham had a little bit of ambition and went and tried to go and get Thomas Frank or someone bit better.
Why though? Why on earth would Thomas Frank?
Well, they'll go.
to West
People
Ham.
will go for a project
Go.
and for money and for a bigger stadium.
But he has a
ultimately, West
project.
Ham and Everton are both bigger clubs and should be than Brighton.
Well, they are.
Right, yeah.
Of course, they are bigger clubs. But what
So
I'm
that's-
saying
that
is,
was why you'd
Thomas
go.
Frank has a project. We've just spent the last 10 minutes talking about how West Ham try and save a penny to lose millions.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you
the
had
money's
more
not there
ambition
for 'em.
and a vision for the clubs with Everton and West Ham, you'd probably attract a better manager.
I
we
think
don't.
Thomas Frank could wait for someone like United, Liverpool, maybe even City.
I don't
if
think he's going to go and get a United
Pep
Liverpool
doesn't
City. I really
go the
don't, because he hasn't
distance.
won anything. I don't think he's that level.
I think United have got to stick with their guy for a minute, haven't they? They've
Yeah.
got to give him time to try.
They've
turn this
got to.
around.
Yeah,
They're-
for
you know,
sure.
That's
They have to.
unless he
Yeah.
really capitulates. But you've got to back your man for a period of time. I think that City's probably the one, isn't it? With Pep,
They're not going to take Thomas Frank to City after Pep.
I don't know, mate. Why not?
Not a chance.
You know.
Not a chance.
Well,
They'll go for a better manager.
so let's say.
When do you think Pep goes, Tom?
What's that?
When do you think Pep goes?
Yeah,
I think it all depends how it goes this year.
tomorrow I hope. But I think Pep will come good again. Pep will come good again.
I do
I don't have any doubt about that. But let's just say he did go tomorrow. I think Thomas Frank could be in the conversation.
I don't think he'd even be
City.
close.
Okay,
I don't
so
think he's got the gravitas.
tell me
He's
three
great.
managers.
He's obviously a really talented guy because he's done what he's
And
done
very
at Brentford.
likeable, but I think he's a step down.
But again, I think when you go into these, I think that's why Potter struggled at Chelsea. He's obviously a talented fella and he knows what he's doing, but he hasn't got that thing.
That aura.
Yes. And that comes with miles on the clock and a little bit more experience. I think,
True.
and I think that you need more of a figurehead. I think is what it feels like. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but there's no saying
to be
that
honest, as
Potter
well.
can't
Look what's
have
happened there.
that
So
in future. There's no saying that Potter can't have that because what it really comes down to is charisma, isn't it? That's the real difference between somebody like.
I actually, if I was Graham Potter as well, you'd be looking and think this is last chance saloon for him. You go and foul. If he fouls this next club, he's in no job territory again, or maybe going down to the Championship because it means you would have fouled at Chelsea and this next club, right? So you're now people are going, yeah, actually this guy hasn't got it. Would you want to be taking West Ham or Everton? Or is it
I think that's probably a sweet spot for him. That feels like
it does, but there are two clubs that you're looking at going now. They're in free fall. West Ham spent loads of money. Have they got any money to bring any players in at all over January? Well, I think we're at top of FFP now.
Yeah.
Everton don't ever spend money.
But how much of it are you bringing a guy like him in so you don't have to spend money and he can turn the players around? Like, how much of it is his skill as a manager?
That's what both of them clubs will be hoping.
Like, you need to get
I think there are different types of managers, aren't there?
I think West Ham as well have got a side there. I really do. I really do think someone comes into us a bit like Emery with Villa and takes them up straight away. Stevie Gerrard, one of the worst managers ever in the Premier League.
Unfortunately,
Wash your fucking mouth out sometime.
I have finally got one that you couldn't come back on. Absolute dog shit manager.
Wash your mouth out with soap and water.
No, but that is a good point. And I actually look at Emery, for example. He took that team, which was the same team, up. And then added players along the way because
Stevie was nearly there though at Villa. He had some good times at Villa, didn't he?
No.
Yeah, and to compare Steven Gerrard,
I think they're in the bottom three when he took over.
No, I don't think they were.
They were
when he left.
What do you think Stevie G will be?
Regardless,
what do you think Stevie G will be more? What do you think Stevie G will be more disappointed with? Is slip. I'm saying, what do you think Stevie G will be? Because no one really talks about the fact that he was 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, I know. Mate, believe me. I remember that more than the slip.
Villa was 16th when he took over.
Really?
Yeah.
When he left or when he took over?
When Gerrard took over, Villa was 16th. When Emery took over, Villa was 16th.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, listen, but the point still stands. You can't compare the two.
He had decent times there, I remember.
Yeah, he did. He started well, but you can't compare the two. You can't compare Unai Emery, who's probably in the top 10 managers in the whole of Europe.
But no one wanted him after Arsenal. Everyone dug him out. Arsenal said he wasn't good enough.
Yeah, but you know what? There was a weird perception with him at Arsenal, and I remember it with a couple of our mates who support Arsenal, and it was weirdly about how we didn't speak great English.
I find Arsenal fans at the minute. I was with an Arsenal fan, a couple of Arsenal fans this week, who hate Declan Rice.
Really?
They think he's useless.
Yeah,
and I'm.
That's probably why Arsenal
have you seen Declan's been a sub
because the fans are idiots.
Declan's been sub for Arsenal last few games. They say when he plays, we're worse off.
But why though?
Do you know? I'll give my wife. I think is because I think he's played in the wrong position. For some reason, he's not played as a central defensive midfielder, which he's
expected to score goals.
Which is so weird because he's never scored goals his whole career.
Yeah, he's never done it, yeah.
And I know he did it last year.
How old is he now, Sam?
Oh, Dec, I bet he's only 25.
I haven't got a clue.
Oh, he wouldn't be that old, I wouldn't think, Dec. Let's have a look. But yeah, I was really surprised to hear him. 25. I was really surprised to hear Arsenal fans like really digging him out. Like a lot of them were saying, "Be happy for you to take him back on loan." And I think it's incredible.
They did
but I find Arsenal a bit like that. They turn on the manager very quickly. You got them.
Mate, a lot of
plebs on that
teams do
Arsenal
that, though.
TV. They're constant, and they are a weird club. Are they? And they love some people, but like attack others. And then all of a sudden, their best thing's to sliced bread again. But they love Wanyeri. They want to have the midfielders in there. That is it Moreno, the midfielder. They want him to play over Rice. So yeah, I find it quite interesting that they've really blamed Rice over this Christmas for him playing. But against Palace, I think he scored an assist.
I mean, they haven't had a terrible Christmas period though either.
Exactly the same Christmas as Liverpool.
Yeah,
Two wins
exactly,
and a draw.
Yeah.
I know they wasn't good against Ipswich when they won 1-0, but they got through it. I think getting through Christmas is as good as it is.
I mean, when you're playing 3 games in 10 days, you take the results where they come from.
I want to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to discuss Liverpool, Man United. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back to Football or Soccer. We want to talk about now the Man United Liverpool game.
Let's go.
How do you two feel?
I think it's a great wake-up call for us. I felt like, we were a little bit maybe overconfident. There was a lot of chatter about how we were going to slaughter them, obviously. And United always get up for us. Like last season, they derailed our season season twice, and in the FA Cup and in the league. And we didn't play very well. United did play well. I tell you what I do think. I think that the contract stuff with Trent especially, not only did it affect his play, clearly, but I think it also affected Slot's decision-making. He should have been hooked after an hour.
Yeah,
and I feel like he kept him on longer because of the perception it might have had if he'd have taken him off after 55, 60 minutes.
So let's talk about the contract thing. So the contract
a really
thing...
good point, that Chris. I've never seen anyone make that point, but I think that's the best one I've heard. I think that's
so the contract thing was that Real Madrid have come in. They've expressed an interest, haven't they?
Well, and the other thing that's interesting about that, which I didn't like, Jamie Carragher said in the press this week that he believes that it was Trent's team that will have told him to do that, so that it,
I don't think that's the case. Do you know what?
Well, I tell you why he said it, which I thought was interesting. It's so we can, if he does go, they can cover his. They can say, well, we turned it down. We covered it. We said no, and they didn't want to sell me, and they had the chance to make money. I think it was to cover their arse maybe a little bit, and for Jamie, look, he'd know. Like, he's been in that situation. He's been in the dressing room. Like, he would know better than anyone. Like, if he says that, you have to go, wow, that's...
Yeah, I think you've got to take it seriously, but I don't think that a club like Real Madrid are going to be told to bid money for someone who they don't want to bid for, So I don't necessarily disagree. What's that?
They would definitely want him, obviously.
Why would you pay money for him?
Right, they don't have to pay money for him. They can wait 16 weeks and get him for nothing. But whilst I agree with what Carragher said, I think he articulated it poorly. I think what he was saying was, and obviously this is just me guessing, but what I think he was saying was, there's no way Real Madrid are going to make a bid for a player like Trent, and Trent doesn't know and give them the thumbs up to do it. But what he actually said was, he would have told Real Madrid to do it. Real Madrid would be like, mate, who the fuck are you?
Yeah,
we're Real Madrid. We're not. I'm not laying out 30 million just.
I actually don't think Carragher's helping the situation at Liverpool, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't think it's his responsibility.
I know it's his job.
No, it's not his job. It's his job now to be impartial. I think he's doing a good job of being impartial. He is.
I agree with what he said about Salah as well, when Salah went to look for the media to. I agreed with that, and I agree
Salah
with what he's saying.
He said, "You're obsessed with me."
Yeah, and he said, "I am." Look, I think Salah's calmed down. I like how Salah's sort of look. They're obviously
making
chatting.
It playful almost.
They're obviously chatting. Look, I think there's a lot of posturing. I think Salah's interview the week before, where he says this might be my last game, is full posturing to try and. Again, you got to understand that their reps and them, they're now trying to, get the best terms.
Millions of dollars.
And I'm wondering whether Trent's people and whether Trent, Virgil and Salah will be chatting amongst themselves, say, what have they offered you? What have they offered you? I think that would be an interesting thing, just an interesting dynamic to understand. But I think Carragher is right when you look at how the three have dealt with it. And to be fair, Trent's not really said much about it either, but Virgil definitely has been the more stoic and maybe more the guy that's handled it the best, you might say, quote unquote. But again, so
would Real Madrid have looked at that Man United game? Because once again, look, it's really funny, and I will go back to this, right? Because I've said this to you this week, Tone. There's this thing about Trent that he's the best right back in the world, but he's not a good defender. Well, defenders are right backs are defenders. Simple as that. And he's the only player I think that we can ever say played in the back line that you say, no, he's an amazing footballer, but he can't defend.
I think it's harsh, and I think he's defended way better this season. And I think
I actually think Konate's got him out of trouble way more this year.
He was rusty on Sunday, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think Konate has got him out of a lot of trouble this year.
Maybe, but he also brings so much more to the table. And
that
it can't just be about, yes, it's about stopping goals, but what he offers in terms of going forward in addition to that, I think when you take that as the universe of all that, I think is more compelling than just a guy that's, like a Jamie Carragher, for instance, that's just there to stop the ball.
I don't know if anyone actually noticed, but when they hooked Trent finally, they brought Conor Bradley on.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, because I'm a huge Conor Bradley fan after that game against Madrid.
Yeah.
So I watched him, and he ploughed into about 3 or 4 tackles.
Oh, he's ace.
And he won every single one.
He's ace.
I thought he was brilliant.
He's ace.
Whereas I would.
He is brilliant.
The thing is, I can say I would let Trent go, but to be honest with you, I retract that a little bit because they let him go for free. Like if they were going to go and get 60 to 100 mil for him, then I go, yeah, you know what, I would actually take that risk for that money. But actually, you forget they're getting nothing, which is absolutely madness. Yeah. But you've got to look at the club, to be honest with you, I think, on these ones, how they've allowed these contracts to go down.
Let's just give them a minute. It hasn't happened yet. I do think, I tell you what I did like, Trent's, I watched everything, body language, eyes, everything when he came off the pitch. I thought he wasn't sulking. He was super professional.
No, he probably was glad to get out there. He was getting fucking rich.
But it's not always the case for him. When he's come off, he's looked a little bit petulant.
No, but he's come off with a bit of a different game to what he had. He was absolutely laughing stock.
Yeah.
Like when Roy Keane said, like, Real Madrid, he'd be going Tranmere Rovers. Like, with that.
Yeah, I know. But Keane's
always right. He always turns out to be right.
He only needs the littlest excuse to do anything for Liverpool.
So you mentioned there, though, Sam. Do you think Real Madrid would see that game and think twice about it? I don't think they would.
Everyone has bad games.
Well, again, they're bringing him in for free as well, which is a big difference as well.
No, well, they're bringing him for free, but it's not like it's
going to be big money, without a doubt.
Form is
they're going to and
but is he class?
From what I understand, in the Spanish league,
he is. I don't know. I don't think he is.
The signing on fees are paid up front in the Spanish league.
Yeah.
So over in the Premier League, it's paid over like you get $5 million a year over whatever for the signing on fee. Over there, apparently, it's paid up front. And apparently that's also for a tax reason as well, where the government just don't let them.
I'll tell you this, by the way, and the fiscal situation in Spain is not great.
Bananas.
It's horrendous. Bananas. And they have got the Beckham law, the 5-year law there and stuff. But, fiscally, from a tax point of view, and again, I know it's not sexy, but it's real. It's horrible, the fiscal system in Spain.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something to bear. I think if he's been offered 75 million, which apparently he has, that's a hell of a.
I was with an agent the other day, and he said, "What's happening now?" And he said it's actually very difficult to deal with now as an agent. He said players are basically going with agents. So, say the dads of the players will get a kickback, but what they'll do is they'll go to places like Dubai, and they'll buy them a house. Or something like that. They can leave it out there, and that's part of the deal. So they've got a tax. So they're basically, instead of losing half their money to tax, they're getting it full 100% out there. But they might get it in houses. They might get it into a company that they'll start for the father of the player, and something like that, which is actually really interesting. And he said it's making it really, really, really difficult for us to sign players now, doing it in that league in the legal way. It is legal, he said, but it's a very grey area. and it's all going. People are just signing with basically idiot agents, who can get it done, but they are saving 50%.
Well, as long as you're avoiding, not evading, isn't it? And it's. But I think you've got to get creative. I can understand that, but
when there's that much money, because if you're saying Gav 75 million and you're talking about 35 million that could be lost in tax or whatever,
away,
that's a hell of a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, get that in a nice holiday home in Dubai. Something you can sell down the road. It's
or
quite
take
nice.
it in Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's
Anything,
an asset,
yeah.
isn't it?
The guys over
it's
here,
only
the guys-
taxable
there
when
was-
it's
there was
sold.
Some of the guys, yeah.
Let's talk about Man United, because we've talked about Liverpool a lot. Obviously, everyone's sort of... It's funny, Man United win, or they didn't win, right? But they should have won.
They should have won.
I mean, but people
were
are
lucky.
acting like they won. People are
and that's what I mean.
behaving like they
Are people
won.
getting carried away, or did Liverpool just have a bit of an off day? Man United were clearly better. They definitely turned up and they showed heart, which they haven't showed
It
for
definitely
months.
It definitely did that. We were there and they did this, and we got to probably the fair result. You know, we could have scored a couple more than they could have, and I think a draw probably on the whole was the fair result. But it was definitely a loss
On the whole,
for us.
yeah. If
And I
they
think-
would have won, though, Chris, I wouldn't have had many complaints.
No.
If we
No,
would have
I think they were the better side. From
We
what I
looked
watched, they
hungover.
were the better side.
We looked.
Yeah, I
hungover,
think it
we
was a
looked-
flip of the coin
looked
who was the best side. But
lethargic,
if
I
they
thought.
would have scored with Maguire there at the end, I don't
That
think
ball from
we could
Xerxes,
have
no one. It's
complained.
funny. People look at that and say that and it's actually I saw Dwight York talk about it, and he agreed. People say the Maguire miss. If you see the ball Xerxes put over, it's a 5-yard pass, and he puts it off the ground, and it's like it's such a bad ball that when it's Maguire gets it, it's coming up.
Yeah.
Maguire is a defender, and he's not like maybe a top striker.
Yeah.
Will be able to just adjust his body a little bit and get there. But it was such a poor ball in the last
And
minute of the
Anfield's
game.
carpet as well. You can't blame the pitch.
And
it's
it was bad. But to be fair, what on earth was Maguire doing there? Like, really? Why is his centre forward not there?
true.
yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
I think Man United have still got big problems. I think.
I hope so. I hope
No,
so.
I think they have. I think they're. I'm not fooled by having one performance against Liverpool and a draw and a big derby as they're anywhere
But
near
I think
back.
they've got again that they've got to believe in this. They've got to give this manager a chance. They've got to let him do his thing because I don't think they've got the money. I was reading some. They're still paying off players from God knows when. You know, in terms of their finances, you know, they can't afford to go and spend hundreds of millions on bringing in a brand new team. And everything I see about Amrin, I like.
I quite
So,
like him as well.
Yeah.
There's bits about him that I like that he's come in. I like what he's done with Rashford. I like what he's done with.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why he brought him back the other day. That was weird. I think it was silly. I think he just brought the conversation back when it didn't need to. Today is saying that Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan could be interested.
For Rashford,
Yeah,
no way.
on
baby.
loan. Again, they're going to have to deal with
way.
these big wages. I'll just go back to if you cannot get up for playing for Manchester United when all your family are from Manchester and support Manchester United, can you get up for anyone?
His head's gone. hasn't it?
Maybe Italy.
It's crazy.
Maybe one of the big teams in Italy, but not Germany. Not Germany. I
How
can't
come?
see it in Germany. Maybe one of the big teams in Italy. Who's got the winner in the cup final there yesterday? Was it Tammy Abraham?
Or Pulisic?
No. I saw it this morning, but I glanced at it first.
Who was it? Was it AC Milan?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I saw on Instagram Pulisic with a medal around his neck. So I didn't.
I think Tammy Abraham scored. And
I didn't know if he was at AC
that's-
Milan. No, I knew he was at Roma previously, wasn't he?
Yeah. They were getting beat 2-0. And then
I actually don't know the result.
I think. Yeah. But anyway,
We've got semi-finals this week as well, haven't we? We've got Arsenal, Newcastle tomorrow. Actually, let's have a bit of predictions here. Arsenal, Newcastle semi-final. Who are you going for?
Arsenal.
Tone?
Yeah. Wait, is it at Arsenal? It can't be at Arsenal tomorrow because Liverpool are playing at Spurs tomorrow. So they usually flip it, don't they, with two teams in
Let's
the
have a look.
same
I'll
similar
tell you right
area.
now. It's going
Is that
to
Newcastle
be,
tomorrow?
It's at Arsenal, Newcastle. Is that Arsenal?
Really?
Yep.
Wait, so then
It's
do we
cup.
play
So
on Thursday then?
Yeah, you play the next day at Spurs.
Oh, okay. At Arsenal, all day long, all day long.
Newcastle weren't
It-
good against Spurs this week. Spurs, as much as I hate saying it, were a much better team. I thought the other day, they were the better team. I'm going to go Newcastle though. I fancy them. And then
Arsenal really need to win something this year. They have to,
would you like
and
to
it
win
might be
that
the
cup?
league, but I'd rather it's the League
I
Cup.
mean,
Is it one leg the semi-finals in this?
No, it's two
it's
legs.
too late.
Oh, it is two legs.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal, as you say, they've got to. This would be a good win for them. You versus Arsenal would be a nice final there, and actually Spurs Newcastle would actually be quite a good final as well. Like two kind of even teams. Do you fancy Liverpool against Spurs?
Of course. Yeah.
Do you think Liverpool will go for it? Will he put the team out?
No. Tomorrow, no. I don't think so. I don't.
Well, I
told
suppose
you
you've got
might
no
do.
Premier League at the weekend. You've got Accrington Stanley at the weekend, didn't
Who
you?
are they?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that. So I suppose that does actually give you the chance to put the side out, doesn't it?
I think he probably will put a side out.
He's
with
going to
that.
not put a side out against Accrington Stanley, is he?
And I hope there's a bit of a reaction
I think
to the
he'll
United
start
game as well. I
Jota
hope
where
we
he
come out
wouldn't if it
and,
was a very, very important game. Like I think he'll start Diego Jota. I think he'll probably start Kwanzaa. I don't think Konate's got 2 games in him over over 3 days right now because he's just
Conor
come
Bradley
back.
probably gets a call. Curtis Jones.
Yeah, I think Kelleher will probably play. I think he'll rest Allison. Allison didn't have the best game against Man United. I think he'll play Bradley over, obviously, Trent. I think he'll play.
Do you? Because that would be a big. That would be a bit. Well, mind you, it's the
No, I
Carabao
don't
Cup,
think. I
so-
think it's the cup, and I don't
Yeah,
think
'cause
that, I
it's
don't think it's going to
expected.
be
Optics wouldn't be as bad.
you drop. No, I don't think it is. I think he will. This is a good chance for Liverpool to use a bit of squad over these next 2 games.
Yeah,
and
I think
actually then you're
Elliott
back
will
for the
play.
league.
I think that's right.
I think Elliott will play. I think Jones will play again. I don't think he'll drop Van Dijk, Salah, or.
I think the one he will be Accrington Stanley.
Well,
You've
yeah,
surely
of
got enough
course,
fight.
yeah,
I think for the semi-finals, I think you're going to see Salah. I think you see Van Dijk. I would think because this is a good chance for Liverpool. And remember him, he might say he doesn't win the league, or let's just say he does and goes and wins a double or triple in your first season. Enough. Good chance to win it.
No, they'll come out, and again, I hope there'll be a reaction to Sunday. I bet Slot was livid after Sunday. I don't think we look great. Not only the form, we just felt.
This is going to be a good chance for Spurs as well. There's going
to be a good chance for Spurs. Yeah.
Like they're in a semi-final. If they beat Liverpool, you'd fancy they could go on and win it.
I like Ange as well. I do.
To be honest, I thought they were really unlucky. You've got to remember, Tottenham are playing with no centre halves. They got people all over the place. Second half against Newcastle, he took off the only centre half there, Dragusin, and put Jed Spence centre half, the right back, and Archie Gray, who's a midfielder. They got them to him in central defence against Newcastle, against Isak, and they were so unlucky. And to be have you seen the goal where the handball?
Yeah, I'd be pissed about it. I mean, I know it wasn't technically, but good lord, it looks bad, doesn't it?
Because he does with it hitting his hand. And I said, well, it's not a thing. And the rule is, if Joe Linton had passed that to Anthony Gordon, and Anthony Gordon scores, it's no goal. If he passes it to Willock or whoever it was, and then he passed it, then it's a goal. But what I kind of remembered from this, from like years ago, if a ball struck an arm like that, usually it was just a drop ball.
Yeah, but they changed the rules every season now.
Like that is what it used to be, didn't it? It was accidental handball. Right, we start.
They used to
this
call
dog
it
has
hand
just
to ball.
farted. It absolutely stinks. Oh, mate, this dog absolutely stinks.
Oh my God. It's cute though. Good job, you're cute.
Oh man,
Hasn't got here yet.
But mate, it will do. Trust me, it's going to take the eyebrows off. But I think Tottenham can feel a bit hard done by the other day. But I did think they were much better the other day against Newcastle. Newcastle weren't very good, but it'd be good to see when we get back, obviously, after these games. West Ham's got Villa in the FA Cup, which is, we're about the only team that's got another good team. Like, we always get the shitty draw with Cup. I think Chelsea got Morecambe, you've got like Accrington Stanley, and we managed to get Villa. It's like away.
Is that away?
Yeah, so we've got FA Cup this week, and it's obviously back to Premier League. What else? I think that's really where we're up to, isn't it? There's nothing really else that's happened in football this week.
How would you rate your teams? Marks out of A, B, C, D over the Christmas period.
A. Liverpool. A. Definitely.
We're
Definitely.
a D-.
Even after United. A.
I think we're.
I've got to say that. I think Liverpool. I think that's a great. You didn't lose any points. You didn't. No one gained on you. So, I mean, you kind of. What are you? 9 points clear with you're 9 points if you win.
6 with a game in hand.
Yeah,
6 with a game in hand.
You're 6 at the minute. 9 with a thingy. If
But
you took that at the beginning of the year,
that's right.
Technically, you could say 7 because we've got our goal difference is superb, and that's where the point, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
Because if the points are the same, then you go off goal difference. So it's maybe 6.5 points with a game in hand. So,
yeah, I think it's a great, fabulous Christmas for you. I think it just comes down to you look at Chelsea, fell completely by the wayside at Christmas. 1 point, whole of Christmas. Got beat by Ipswich.
Chelsea.
So they are done. Like this.
That's why Sam isn't here today.
I think that's why he's not here. Said he had work this morning. Said he had work.
Listen,
well, we're going to end it up there. And
before we end it up, watch out for Man City. Those dirty little dogs. They're on the.
Do you know what? I'm going to just say something on that. Let me tell you, Manchester City against West Ham were awful. West Ham outplayed City in large parts of that game.
I know, but
don't be fooled by that result at West Ham because West Ham are piss poor. That if you watch that, any other team beat City that day. They weren't there. They were gaps all over the midfield. Kudos should have had 4 or 5. We just couldn't. We were that bad, and then the defence just gave way again. So I wouldn't be fooled by.
I think their pedigree will rise. I'm with you. I think
they
the
are
second
going
half
to
of
get
the
better
season,
without doubt.
I think this break,
all they need is
the heat sort of off him a little bit. You know, like the all of that chatter.
Yeah, they got the win
it.
now. Like it's a
got
bit.
a win. It's sort of calmed down. It's kind of, and I think they'll settle back into normal service. Will probably resume somewhat.
It wouldn't surprise me if they end up finishing second after the mighty Reds.
I don't think so.
Surprise me.
I still think as long as we match Arsenal, we'll win the league. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I hope you're right because I think we can match Arsenal.
Right, fellas. Well, it was lovely seeing you all again in person.
Happy New Year.
Remember to hit subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to us. Give us a little rating. And we will see you all again next week.
Bravo.
See you later.
See you guys.
Ciao for now.